So we can talk pro wrestling. We can talk Charlie Chris. We can talk.
Charlie Kirk.
I mean Kirk.
Or we could talk Charlie. I prefer to talk Charlie.
Charlie Chris.
Vine watermelon. Is this what I'm seeing here?
Yeah.
Glorious. Okay.
Um, not to be mistaken with the original Blood Orange. We could
Correct.
talk Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah. That's
We could
worthy.
we could talk the somewhat unimportantness of NFL football in my life this year, or
But that would all pale in comparison.
when you're fucking when you're fucking smoking up fucking 20, 27 grams of rocket.
Dude, it's so funny. Like we were talking before, like a little short on topics. Not much is going on in the wrestling world.
No,
We've covered a lot of what's going on in the political real world. It's still the same stuff happening. And then in the pre-show, at one point, Kev goes, "I was watching this Charlie Sheen thing." I said, "Oh baby." I said it. It was like when we both discovered the Rock Hudson show
yeah,
together that day, and
yeah. It says there's certain things that like, and the thing is like, I I absolutely loved Two and a Half Men. Like that's one of the last probably shows that I watched that was um, a network television show. That when he was on it, like I didn't. Once he was gone, I was gone, and but it's on fucking syndication. Like you can catch that 10 times a day, probably
yeah,
one
of
of those
course.
episodes. And if I remember when she was in the hospital the last time, like each day, like one day it would be The Office, the next day it would be Parks and Recs, then we get Three and a Half Men, and it was like on a rotation of those shows and
On the
Friends.
hospital TV.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hospital TV, and we would sit and watch those. And and he was in there for like, God, he was in there he was in there long enough for us to like watch the loop again. Like, oh
You got through this
yeah,
all the seasons.
yeah, we saw these five last 3 weeks ago. So, but so I see, I saw that his memoir had came out. I don't know where I saw that. Maybe it was online. And then like that night, I just went on Netflix, and you know how it is with Netflix. Like there's never anything on Netflix. Like you can go through Netflix 1,000 times, and they've got that new show with Jude Law and Jason Bateman coming out, where they own that.
Yeah.
They run that restaurant in New York with a criminal underbelly, and that looks good. That started last night. Uh, so like, but Tamara had already called it a night, so I'm like, I'm not going to start. She wants to watch that, so we'll watch that together. So I just turned on I just went through it, and then all of a sudden I just saw fucking Charlie's picture, and I'm like, I said, and I know that like because I've done it before where it's the false finish, and it says starts Friday. Like you pull it up and
You think you're gonna dive
you're
in?
pressing watch and it's not going on. You're like, why won't this turn on? And in giant letters to the right of it says start.
Start
Starts.
September twenty
Yeah,
sixth.
yeah. Oh, maybe that's why, asshole. So, but here it goes, and I met him a couple of different times in my life, but we did I want to think it was Paris. We did a Comic Con in Paris together, and we hung out a little bit. And he was sober.
Smoking rock? Oh no, he was
No,
sober.
he was
Okay.
sober, and he looked rough, but he looked good. But I mean, but he looked, and he's 60 years old.
Yeah.
And he's
Did you at all, did it register with you who he's starting to look like the older he gets?
his dad?
No. Corey Feldman.
Yeah, but I
He's
think
got he's got a mouth thing that's starting to.
yeah, but I
make him
think I think they both kind of did this like almost the
same pattern.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
just yeah.
He went to the Corey Feldman School of Preservation.
You ride the same ride as many times as those two have.
His
But
introduction to crack is while he's getting blown.
blown.
Right.
You know, and they always say that, like, you know, if you ever, snort coke, like that first time you snort coke, first time you freebase, first time you do anything with that drug, it's like you chase that dragon the rest of your life. That's the whole. And like when they talk to his drug dealer, and they come up with the way where he's cooking it and making it less potent,
Less and less potent over the months.
And he's basically just he's down to smoking fucking soap.
Yeah.
And that was, but when you go back and listen to it, it's just like I couldn't get high anymore. Like, but
So that kind of worked though, which was funny to me.
yeah, but
then the second he gets it from another source and it's potent.
But it took like a year and a half.
Right. Yeah.
Like I'm thinking to myself, like, I've been around guys that have been on benders before. Like that human being was put on earth. They used to say that about the bodybuilding guys. Like there were some bodybuilders that came through the pros that had the most amazing bodies and genetics, but their bodies couldn't take the drugs. They couldn't take the drugs that the other guys could take. And that was always a thing,
The steroids you're talking about.
Yeah,
Drugs, yeah.
I mean everything, not just steroids, but there's the diuretics and all the different. Yeah, their systems couldn't put up with it, but and I was amazed, like we're at the Heidi Fleiss in his life, and it's like, what was that, like 95 or something? You know, I mean, it was like, and you're thinking like, wow, like we still have to. And I think everybody forgot about the Charlie Sheen winning tour.
That was unbelievable. I forgot that he took it on the road.
I did until the minute it happened. I remember it was a Live Nation thing. I remember it was a debacle.
That is such a carny wrestling fucking thing. Like he gets this resurgence of popularity for just being a knucklehead on the air, and someone goes, "Let's put him in front of a live audience for an hour and a half." It wasn't an act. He was losing his fucking mind.
That's what he said. What did he say? He was like, God, he had such a great line about like more crazy doesn't fucking cure crazy.
That's exactly the line. More crazy will not.
Yeah, it doesn't cure crazy,
yeah.
And it's just, and he says, if I have one more person tell me to go up there and just tell stories, because that's what they want. They're like, dude, like what he did for that was like what, 3 hours?
Well, yeah, it was 2 episodes. I think they were an hour and a half each.
Yeah, so he just basically told stories, and it was entertaining. It was sad. The love of his father is just.
I was going to say that too. I emerged from this film with such a respect for Martin Sheen, for having stood by him and never gave, and so involved there at the hospital. He calls the press conference. This isn't done through lawyers or doctors. Like, he's in it.
He's a dad, man.
Yeah.
But also when he, you look at when he took like Charlie to to the shooting of Apocalypse Now, and
Yeah.
like he took the kids, like the kids were a part of his life. But like just the little tiny thing where he's just like it was like a 6 month period or something like that where his like Martin Sheen and his mom were fucking nudists
Yes.
in the house.
Yes.
I, like
Yeah, Martin was an interesting cat, too, in his
yeah,
younger days. I think he had a twirl or two with the bottle. You hear about the homes, like I've talked about the Downey documentary about his dad on the air here, I think. And, it's famously reported that Robert Downey Jr.'s first puff of any kind of intoxicant was a joint his father gave him. So, and then, now we're in the Philippines for a year, out of school, the normalcy that school or the regimented behavior that school might have fostered, that's out the window. We're in the Philippines. Um, dad slowly losing his mind in the Philippines too. That whole crew doing that film was, walking around with the knife between his teeth like he was talking about. And then, so is this like Hollywood parenting that fucks up the Hollywood kid?
well, I think it's I looked at that and I just made the direct correlation between if your dad's a pro wrestler, like we all raise our boys the same way.
Hey, I did a book on that. Well, tell me more, Kev. Do you think so? You think that it's all that?
I knew that I did not want my son to smoke his first joint with people that he didn't like. I wanted him in a controlled, safe environment,
Without some street shit that anything could have been in it.
or them fucking beat him up and take his
Right.
like and I know because I grew up in a I had an older brother, which was always, that helps. T was always solo,
Right.
so. But like when T was 15 or so, and we'd be down in the islands, and we'd be on the boat, and there'd be waters because we don't drink soda. So there'd be waters, and he'd be like, "Dad, can I get a beer?" I didn't think anything of it,
Right.
you know. Which in retrospect was horrible, but
But add to that. Now you were on the road a lot, so if you were home more and maybe a nudist, or something like that, that's what I mean. It's not just the pot or the beer or whatever that kids get exposed to. It's a lifestyle thing. Like for Charlie, it was being in the Philippines for that year and kind of a transient life, depending on how well his father was doing.
you also look at the beginning when they're making those home films. Like
The kids, when
yeah,
Charlie and Sean Penn and Chris
yeah,
Penn, yeah,
when they're making like so they're already at 8, 9, 10 years old, and doing like some pretty decent like squib jobs and
yeah.
I mean and it's not like they're not getting that information like on set.
That's a good point. So you've got a few film kids, entertainment kids,
Right.
wanting to work, and it was productive. That's what I did as a kid with video cameras, but growing up in the city, nobody wanted to fucking do that shit. I had to find kids that were willing to
Right.
be in these films, and just as strange as I. But yeah, you're right. So they did have kind of a community.
And then you look at it, you've got Sean and Christopher Penn and Emilio and Charlie.
Right. Yeah.
Gee, none of those four guys could act.
I know. That's true right there. Fucking powerhouses.
I mean, fuck, man.
Chris Penn was so good and underrated because he, like his younger stuff, like he was in Footloose, and I think Footloose might have been his first film, actually. But
He was in that the one we were talking about, Close Range.
he was in that Close Range
Yeah, he played.
with Sean. That's right.
Sean. Yeah.
He was the brother in that. And then he did some weird shit after that, like the Abel Ferrara films and stuff. But he died so young that you just never got to know his potential. So to get back to the show, a couple of impressions I had. First of all, I forgot how prolific he was, how much he'd done. Like I forgot completely about the comedy stuff. Like of course, I remember Platoon and his little spot.
I remember that scene in Ferris Bueller.
Ferris Bueller. Like I remember that.
Man, that was strong.
He played it straight, Like his dad told him. Was it his dad?
Yeah.
He was reading lines with him, and he said, "What do I do?" He goes, "Nothing. Do nothing. Just deliver the line."
Just what you did.
Yeah. I think Michael Caine tells that story with film acting, Kevin, as you know, we can let everybody else in on the big secret. The less you do, the more powerful it will read on camera because the audience is right here in the close-up. They're right up on you. So like any kind of raising of your eyebrow or your eyes darting around or whatever, it's very distracting. So the more you can tamp it down, tone it down, and find your zone, the better. And so, brilliant advice by Martin Sheen. Memorable scene. But I totally forgot about Major League.
Oh, God, I didn't. I was just listening to that's the Trogs who sing Wild Thing.
Wild Thing, yes.
Yeah, so they came on the radio the other day. And the minute it started, I could just see him coming out of the bullpen. And this was before I saw the doc.
Yeah, that was his nickname in the film, right? Wasn't it Wild Thing?
Yeah.
In reference to him, yeah. Yeah, so I forgot how much shit he'd done, and then.
But I didn't realize that he did Platoon, and while on Platoon, while they were wrapping up, Oliver Stone basically said, "Hey, I'm going to do this thing called Wall Street." Like he offered him Wall Street.
Yeah, on no information, basically. He goes, "What's it about?" He goes, "A guy that gets disheartened while he's trying to make money." He's like, "Done, I'll take it."
That's just. He's always been that guy, and that's what when you listen to everybody, it's just like he was that guy that fucking, while he was hitting the pipe, fucking the geese that lays the golden egg would put a dozen in his lap.
Yeah, I mean, second, third, fourth, fifth chances.
Spin City, 2.5 Men.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine the pressure of doing Spin City and taking Michael J. Fox's spot?
Right. I never knew, for instance, that he was cast as
Karate Kid.
Daniel LaRusso, the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
And couldn't do it because he committed to some wild grizzly bear movie.
Yeah, a grizzly bear movie. But again,
but Laura Dern is in that with George Clooney, with a young George Clooney, which is shocking.
But the thing is, though, his dad gives him the perfect advice. No, man, you've committed to something, and that's in this business. That'll kill you if you don't honor your word.
Yeah, but he would have been the fucking Karate Kid.
Yeah, but what would Ralph Macchio do outside of the Karate Kid? He got pegged in that Karate Kid role.
He did. My cousin Vinny.
And he's still doing the Karate Kid.
He's still doing the Karate Kid. Yeah, good point. So yeah, it actually worked to his favor, I suppose. Took a little longer, maybe, but so the worst thing for an addict like Chuck, because he was the one thing that Sean Penn, I feel in the interview he was one of the talking heads in the film, in the documentary, and one of the things he kept talking about was the outrageous constitution that Charlie Sheen had for excess. And the worst thing for someone like that to have is a lot of money.
All right.
because you're never going to run out. And
Do you think John Cryer is still selling the fact that he said that Charlie was making $2 million an episode? He said I was making a third of that. All right, so he's making $750 an episode, and they were doing 20 what, four
it's
20?
probably 22 a year. Yeah.
Yeah. So it
Not
probably
too many violins came out.
no, but I'm just saying at the same time though. That's let me just
You do a little math? We can do a
yeah.
little Nash?
I
Take
mean,
a little
yeah,
Nash break?
because you can never to me, man. Until I see it and fucking in X's and O's, it's just like
You need a calculator for this. You did the Manchester math mentally before, which was very impressive. Number of guests
yeah. That's because I've
times
done that.
what percent?
That's because I've done that so many. It's let's see. So
We trying to figure out John Cryer's salary annual?
let's say 22.
Yeah, it's going to be 18.
So 16.5, and they had 2 years left. So 30.
16.5. I thought 18. Okay, 16.5
16.5.
over 2 years, 33.
Yep. So after taxes in California, that's 16.5.
Okay. If you don't have a coke habit, you can make it work.
But
Or
that
a
was the
or a
whole
hooker
thing
habit.
too. At the end, when Sheen has the kids with Denise Richards, he has the kids, the two boys with the other, and it's like,
Would you have been able to pick her out of a lineup today?
who?
Denise Richards.
Oh yeah,
Really? As I thought she looked so different.
yeah. But that was one of those girls that when I saw that movie Wild Thing with Kevin Dillon down in like it's who's the other one? Nev Campbell's in it.
Nev Campbell, yeah, I remember that.
But when she washes his car, it's like that was one of those like who the fuck is that?
Right.
You know. There's been about 3 of those in my life. Maybe 5. In a movie that you just go. I remember it was
Raquel Welch. Oh, no, Rachel Ward.
Rachel Ward in Sharky's Machine.
Oh, see, I would have put it in Against All Odds.
No, that was later.
It was later. Okay.
That was way later. She was already established then. Bo Derek in 10, because nobody had ever seen her before.
B. Arthur.
Yeah.
Golden Girl.
I'd say Denise Richards and Wild Thing, and
Phoebe Cates.
Megan Fox and Transformers.
Okay. See, I don't know that one. The Phoebe Cates diving board scene is referenced by
Doesn't anybody
Men of My
knock
Generation.
anymore?
In little Judge Reinhold. The So now the hookers. Let's get on to the hookers. First of all, is Heidi Fleiss living in a bird sanctuary now? I guess was the impression I got.
I guess. But it was somebody's crib before that. It was like she basically lived in somebody of that has some essence or something and turned it into that.
Okay.
It was somebody else's crib, you know.
Who gave him the advice? I forget. Maybe another actor. When it came to paying prostitutes,
Oh, I was
he said, "I don't pay them for the sex. I pay them to leave when it's done."
yeah, I've always thought that was the greatest line on earth. God, who was it?
Old school actor was it?
But like mid school actor.
Was not Cary Grant, right?
No, not Sean Connery. It was.
Steve,
I can't,
type this quote in your phone so that your wife can see it. I don't pay for the sex. I pay for the hooker to leave when it's over. And tell me who said that, because it's going to bother me. But so his voracious appetite, they gave a figure. I'm not going to remember what that was, what he was spending annually on.
yeah, but it wasn't crazy. Like at the beginning, it was 50 to 75,000.
I think that's why it was 50 grand. I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, But then once when he found out he was HIV positive, and he was having sex, and he was trying to keep that under wraps. He said, remember, he said the cheapest he got out of one of those uh, hush money payoffs was a half a mil, and the most he paid was 1.4.
Right.
And it's just like, wow.
And he got popped because he used a traveler's check
Yeah.
instead of cash. Because the traveler check
We
can
used to
be.
use, I remember when we went on vacation, when Tam and I first,
Errol Flynn? That can't
no.
be. I'm feeling like that's not right. I'm sure Errol Flynn said a lot of shit. He was in like Flynn comes from
Yeah, Errol Flynn
Errol Flynn.
would not been up in that.
He didn't have to pay for it, or you pay for them to leave. But you said Tamara, what?
No, that when we would go on vacations, little vacations, like we would always get travelers checks.
Yeah, I remember when that was a thing. Remember Carl Malden used to do the
Yeah,
American Express travelers checks
yeah,
commercials, showing
yeah.
my age. Did anything surprise you in the Sheen doc, or did you kind of expect everything you were going to get?
Um, I think the fucking ordering from the other side of the menu.
I
I,
was
di-
surprised
I
by
didn't
that
see that
too.
coming.
I didn't see that coming either.
Yeah, like hooking up with dudes, like. But then when you're that far down the rabbit hole, man, like
He might not even know what he was sticking it in at that time.
I just. But then the guy asked him, he says, "You regret any of that?" He goes, "Fuck no, it was fun." Like he's a he's a different cat, man.
Yeah. Yep, he really is.
It was weird though to me. It's just like, all right, we're gonna clear the fucking diner out now, so we're just gonna do this. And I guess to get it right, like once you get it, then it doesn't matter who watches it in retrospect, but it's to get it is the key is to get that to get that on film. He's very, I mean, beyond trusting, but I guess like he said, like he said it was liberating.
Yeah. It also seems that I don't know why. Maybe his age, or maybe the fact that he chose to do this and open up like this. It seems like it's going to stick now, right? Like the rehabs and it was
Do you know where I just saw him? This is where I
Manchester Comic Con.
no,
No, definitely not.
the he was on Bill Maher. He was his host. He was his first guest 2 episodes ago. Charlie, if it wasn't this week, but Charlie Sheen was his guest, and Bill Maher said like right now he said you're a brilliant actor. He said and right now that you're like he's 60, like this, he could be doing some killer work right now, and it's not like it's not there. The
Right.
guy's a fucking amazing actor. So
He just did Rogan this week too. He's doing the rounds to get out there and promote the
yeah.
book. But yeah, I mean, it seems like this is like phase 3, maybe